Buenos dias, Gunners Collective. Back at it? You already know. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Sprinkle the woods in, brother, today. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Like a mother. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Like a mother. Smack at it. Bye-ya. 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 Oh, as you can tell by that thumbnail, yes, indeedy. The woods are about to get sprinkled in a menudo style direct fashion. It's their time to shine. Look it, brothers, this is how we're going to do it. It's called a junta. Okay, you three, you're going to go get off on the norteños. You're going to go run some wheelos for them Southsiders, and you two vatos, can you take a shower, por us? That's exactly what it is. That's a junta. Ready? Hike. Now, trip out. What I wanted to talk about was a story that's facts. Something that happened. Now, anyone who's ever been to Tracy Prison, DVI, before it closed, Gladiator School, you hear a lot of stories about it. From the 60s, 70s, 80s, all the way to the 2000s, it was rocking. Now, it didn't rock every day. It wasn't one of those places like a Thunderdome or a Gladiator School. I know they called it Gladiator School. Maybe in the 80s, 70s, 60s, it was. Maybe every time you stepped out of themselves, it was on like Donkey Kong and Dinky Kong. I don't know what it was, but in the menudo style, I know that when I was there, the funk was on, but it wasn't on tremendously. And that was because we were always on lockdown. See, when you rolled up to Tracy, you had a feeling. You felt the aura of Tracy. You understood and you knew that you finally hit the big time. You finally were in a historic place where you could get got. People had been getting got since youngsters. See, it was a prison back in the days where they sent a lot of YA babies. You could pull up to Tracy, catch that M number, and shoot on back to YA. It was a place with a lot of people trying to establish a name for themselves. It was a reception for Northern California like no other. It was going down in DVI, dual vocational institution. Now, the prison's makeup was, there was people from everywhere. You had a lot of Sangres, Crips, people from the Bay. If they wiggled out, because their reception was, of course, San Quentin, but they would find themselves caught up in the Valle. Boom, they'd go to that reception. You had a lot of whites. Woods, brother. I said woods, not white. Separate the white from the wood. You had a lot of woods, brother, man. Anyone defined as a white man that was functioning with his people was considered a wood. Of course, you had Knots. We're going to get into all that. There was different elements to the white chain, but definitely woods were there deep. And then, of course, you had Norteños, which was the more dominant group. The majority was Norteños. And you actually had Southsiders or even upstate Sureños, vatos that were from up north that actually claimed Southsiders and had barrios and hoods, and they kept them segregated, you know. Didn't keep them segregated because they wouldn't handle their business, but kept them segregated because of numbers. Now, that was the best bet. That was the best thing to do. But believe me, when they got a chance, or if they got a chance to get off on site, they definitely did that. Everybody did. See, one thing about Gladiator School Tracy was everybody was on site. You know, now let me rewind that. Orale, stop, pay your line, right? One thing I'll say is this, and these are facts. When it came to North and South, they were on site. There was issues and times when the whites wouldn't be, the blacks wouldn't be, but then there was times when they would. You know, it just depended on the element, what was going on there at that particular time. Now, I remember pulling up to Tracy one time because I've been there 6 different times. And when you pull up, there was a billboard. It wasn't a billboard. It was like kind of like a, I don't know, something that stood out in front. It would tell you who was on lockdown. It would say Norteños has been on lockdown since 8/7/90, whatever. And then it would say Southsiders been on lockdown since 9/13/2001, and so on and so forth. North and whites on lockdown, whites and Southsiders on lockdown, blacks and everybody on lockdown. It would tell you about the different gangs and groups, so you already knew pulling up, damn, homie, we ain't gonna get no cantina, ain't got nothing coming. Oh shit, because they would stretch you out. They would automatically give your group about a year lockdown, 6 months to a year lockdown. Forget about it. And it didn't matter if all the guys that were involved in the melee or the riot or whatever happened weren't there anymore. So what? And guess what, Putan? You're still maxed out. You're still in troubles. Go ahead. You can get out, do a violation, come back, and you're still on lockdown. You can do that 2 times. Say that 3 times fast. That's it, right? Guard! You got are sneaky, eh? Anyway, so that's how it was. I remember this particular time pulling up, and Norteños were on lockdown, and so were whites. Okay? So I knew something had happened, and I was going to figure it out when I got there. So when I get to R&R, my first thinking and my first, I remember my first coherent thought was, okay, if I got action at getting off on a white boy, I'm going to get off. To what degree of lockdown, it doesn't even matter. I know if the North and the white boys are on lockdown, more than likely it's for getting off with each other. So I'm on the hunt. or I'm on the prowl. You know, I'm looking at R&R, and they kept us separated. I remember the white dudes, they would put them in cages. They had us in a cage, and I'm just looking, waiting, like, hey, if I get action. And I remember a couple other homeboys had pulled up. One homeboy from Turlock, and there was another homeboy from Stockton. And I told them, of course, I'm not no shot caller. It wasn't me just directing traffic. But I did tell them, hey, bro, if I can catch a white guy slipping or anybody, bro, I'm going to get off, right? And they're like, we're down. But maybe we should wait. I said, yeah, I know how to wait. You know, waiting, you wait too much, these white boys will put something in you. One thing about white boys, they don't play. I learned this in CYA. I learned this throughout the county jail system. I learned this. They don't play, brother. Woods are different, right? Woods ain't playing. They know they're short on numbers, and they make up for it with tenaciousness, and they make up for it with attitude. You know, they ain't going out like that, man. Don't sleep on the white man. The white man hits different. So anyways, I told the homeboys that. Of course, we never did catch up with white. So we get to H wing, which was right across from J wing. There's several different wings. There's several different buildings. If you've been to Tracy, I can sit here and explain it all day to you. All I can tell you is the ones that count are K wing. That's it. The oil, that's where it's at. That's where the power is, and that's where it's ran. But anyways, I get to H, and it's a functioning active yard. Of course, immediately you go to your cells. And you're all locked down. You're Norteño? Okay, we got you, right? You don't even got to tell them. They already know. So they put me in a cell, and I remember at this time the tier 10ers were white guys. There was 2 white guys out there sweeping. I remember because they had made them go all the way to the back of the door. You got to understand, this building in Tracy, the buildings are very long. And you got tiers very long, so they made them stand way in the back. So if they try to take off running, this guy, I already been in my cell, and I'd have been like, before they even caught up. They knew better, so they could do better. Being a tier 10er was the highlight that you wanted. You put yourself into that position, or your people did, so that way you could push stuff, run wheelas, and take care of your everyday, day-to-day business. That's what they did. Now, at this time, we knew as Norteños we didn't have nothing coming, but best believe we're going to have tier 10ers too. Oh, yeah, we're going to need ours. Separate ours from yours, Woods, right? So half the day they would have them running, the other half they would have our homeboys running. It's just the way it was. It was all political. I said, don't look at me. You know, it's just how it was. So I remember getting a couple of my homeboys. Of course, I got there. I have to do my little procedures, whatever I have to go through to get cleared in the household. I can't sit here and explain it to you. It's been explained several different times on several different channels what Norteños have to go through. Let's just say it took a couple days. Then my clearance pass was given to me. Was it an actual pass? No, brothers. But it was, I was cleared. Meaning that my name was clean, I could function. And so I started asking questions. See, up until that point, being a Norteño, you have 72 hours, or you did at that time. When you got there, you didn't have to work out. You could sleep it off. Because a lot of guys are getting in there doing violations, right? So they're picking up right off the streets, and they were running and gunning. But they had the Edna hanging in their arm when they're in the cop car. There's a lot of authors that were actually out there really doing that and weren't functioning, doing burpees, and they weren't staying up to par. So you have a 72-hour grace period while you're being cleared to actually come up to par or sleep it off. It's up to you. Most authors chose to sleep it off. Now, within that time, of course, I'm doing a few little push-ups. I'm trying to get up to par. I'm coming from Merced County Jail, so I'm way up on game, because this time I was actually doing a stretch and not necessarily a violation. The ones that 72 hours pertain to was more guys doing violations than anything. If you try to milk it, homeboys would call you on it like, damn, bro, you came from the county and you're not up to par? We might have to get out that whole county jail. No, because that doesn't see the way my county jail game works? Nah, I know how your county jail game works. Now you're going to see how our prison game does. And that's just how it was. Everyone's going to hold everyone accountable. You're only as strong as your weakest link. That's facts. Menudo. Now, let's get back to the woods, brother. Now, the white boys, having done time prior to this incident I'm going to tell you about, where they got us, because they got us. I did time in a lot of places, all the way from the youth authority to several other prisons. And the white guys always held their own. Now, when I was in YA, I've told the story. I know Dubs has told the story. So many other people that have been to the youth authority. The whites had a ramfla, but it wasn't that deep. Any white guy down south that was functioning, he functioned with the Southsiders. It's just the way it was. Pensa, white boys on the tira. Con permiso en la tina, if you understand that. Is that come between or after Salisbury State, brother? It comes in between. Now, trip out. The white guys in YA, there wasn't very many of them, but I've always said what there was dangerous. They were different. They weren't no punks. They weren't going out like that. You weren't going to talk to them any old way. You weren't going to take nothing from them. The ones that just decided to conform to whatever you had going on, they didn't even have a bar of soap or a house slipper to wear. But the ones that were about that business, Oh, best believe, man, you know, you try to take it. You're going to take something sharp with it. Believe that. So I knew what the program was, and I knew how the Woods carry themselves. And I have a lot of respect for the Woods. I always do. I know I play and I always go, "What's up, Wood?" You know, they don't all talk like that, but there are some that do. No, I've been on the, "Hey, look, brother." They got their prison ID right here. "Look, brother. You didn't bring my shot of coffee, brother?" "Nah, bro, because the way my coffee game, I'm almost out, bro. Give me the benefit of the doubt." "Utterly Wes Watson, what's up, bro? Say it with your chest," right? This is the average every day. "Hey, come here, bro. Come here. I love your life, Wood. I love your life. Mighty white of you. Credit check." You know what I mean? Just different. They like to sex play a little bit, like to horseplay a little bit on the yada. The whites game is different, but don't sleep on them or underestimate them or think what they do you can indulge in or you have any action at playing them out of pocket. Because them dudes, it's like you put on a pointy hat and get straight to it. They ain't playing. Period. They don't like nobody either. You know, they'll kick with Southsiders, but they don't really like people. You know, I've seen the whites and the Southsiders, the Woods and the Southsiders, period. The Nazis, because that's a whole different group. The skinheads, I've watched them go at it with the Southsiders probably more than anyone else. So all the people that think, oh, the Southsiders and the Woods are together, it's 100%, it's pulled on. You know what I mean? Take that to the bank, brother. And they're all good? Nah, that's furthest from the truth, man. Them about to go at it more. We'd be on the other side of the yard. Watch out. Look at the skinheads and the Sureños. Oh, hell no, right? They're going at it. So anyways, skip rewind or fast forward to get back to Tracy. So we're on lockdown. It's a lockdown situation. And I think I got into it last night on the live, man. I kind of told somebody about how one of the Woods disrespected me. And I got back at him sideways. You know, he got at me. He was like, I was like, hey, you know, where's the homies at? And he was like, who the fuck's your homies? And I was like, come on, bro. Who else is going to be my homies? Bob also, right? And I told him, hey, go take a shower. We always had a running joke. You know, hey, you grease your ass long hair. Orderly Judas Priest, take a shower, Holmes. We're not gonna take it. No, we ain't gonna take it. Yeah, I know, you're not gonna take a shower. You know, go take one right there, say, okay, old biker. So this was just a running joke. We respected the Woods. We knew what they were capable of and what time it was. But at the same time, everyone talks a little cagada about everybody. You know, it's part of prison politics, part of life. You know, you're not going to sit there and say, oh, my enemy, they're so cool. You don't understand. Those are crazy. Nah, hey, watch out. Stick a fork in it. Puta. That's just how it was. But these vaulters weren't to be played with. The guys that they actually had set in position there at this time are the guys that actually were in Tracy. Because it flips. You know, being a reception, what happens is, and this is goes for every group. Knowledge you can't get in college. Sit down. I said sit down here for a minute. Guard! We got to talk after this. Anyway, so the way it goes is you could have some down vaulters, maybe crime partner vaulters are in for violations that have been somewhere, been in New Folsom, Old Folsom, Susanville, High Desert, Salinas Valley, vaulters that have been around the block in the 6-4 that know what time it is. And that prison or that reception at that time is going to run smooth because they're indoctrinated and educated in the plight of their people. They know what's up. They know how to run a yada. They know how to establish. So they're hinting the people that are coming in that aren't in the know, that need to be educated, they're going to make sure that they put something properly, you know, in play to get it that way. And then you'll see when they leave, it goes, you know, it all falls apart because now you got some youngster hothead that thinks he's that cool because he was selled up with the other guy and he just ruins the whole program. And this goes for every single group and every side. Everything's not going to always run up to par and be perfect. It depends on the character of the man who's running it or the character of the man who knows how to do what he has to do. See, being an ex-convict, there's an art form there. I said, there always has been. People that think that, oh, you just get locked up and it's all good. Nah, it ain't like that, man. There's different stages of life. There's inmates, there's ex-cons, there's old school vault, you just leave alone. And they're over there doing their thing. You just leave stuff alone. In prison, eyes open, ears open, mouth shut. Period. Menudo. Move on. Proceed. On we go. You know, this is their chocolate factory. But at this time, the whites were with the shit. So the whites that I could tell they had going on there, they had it going on. Now, we were on a lockdown situation because we were getting off with the group of white boys or skinheads that were there. It was a particular group. I know you've heard of the Wolf Pack. Well, we were getting off with the Wolf Pack. And they were no joke. You know, at one point in time, they did get eradicated from the linea eventually. Their own people decided that for no other reason to remove them from several yards. Throughout the system, the California Department of Corrections system, just because them Woods move differently, brother. You know, they messed up. You know, maybe they were speaking for something they shouldn't have, or they were just drawing too much attention. Either way, they no longer function. But what happened was us being in lockdown and having the split from being a tier tender, what they did was they messed up. We had some new placa on our building, and usually when our tier tenders were out was when they would pull out the northerners for any type of medical, anything. You gotta understand, we were on lockdown, so we weren't walking to the chow hall. Our food was being brought to us. It was just an ugly existence, man. When you're on lockdown in Tracy, it's ugly because you're not seeing no yard. You're hearing people scream all day. It's either hot if it's in the summer or cold if it's the winter. It's just a whole bunch of people yelling and screaming on the tier. Fishing lines everywhere. Placas trying to catch them fishing lines. For the most part, they'll just let you do your thing. You see people fishing, making arrows and fishing all the way across to other buildings. I've seen it. Anything that you could think of can be made. Stingers popping and crackulating, cells smoking. Anything that can happen has happened and will continue. So you see that over there? They want to make stingers and burning down cells. And they're going to continue to make stingers and burn down cells. And that's just what it is. The woods over there, brother, right? You know what it is. It's just how the game goes. Now trip out on this. So what you have popping is, bets on la tira. Yeah, what you have popping is these white guys. I didn't see it for what it was. Every time they were coming out of their cells, they were tier tenders, they were passing, you see people passing wheelers, you see the other side doing their thing. It's their business. As long as you don't involve yourself in their business, you watch, but you pay no never mind. Meaning, okay, I see you, right? You see them bearing weapons on the yard all day. I'm going to go dig those up. I'm going to go ahead and need those. You ain't going to use that on me. I see, right? Any weapon stock, we're going to go ahead and need that. We're going to chop that down one time. Give that to the homeboy Pedro. He's going to make something real efficient with it. I didn't really notice they were being smart about shooting wheelers. Oh, hell no, right? And they were doing their thing. Now, you got to understand, being on lockdown, you would think they would also be on lockdown, but that's not the way the placas were running it. These placas weren't up to par, or they just didn't care. They were letting the tier tenders come out, so they're doing it. And what happened was, these white guys were telling each other, woods, brother, listen here, guys. Any of these norteños come out, off with their heads, right? Well, this placa released, two norteños. One of them was me, and one of them was the homeboy Shady from Sacra. Oh, hell no. No, hell no, right? And I remember when the cop came and he opened our door and he was like, you guys got to go to medical. Now, in the reception, that was normal. You go to medical, they draw blood, they do what they do. They're trying to figure out if you got that shit, so that way when you go to another prison, they already got your file, your C file, your G file, you already know what it is. So it's normal. You see people constantly going and talk to counselors, or people talking to parole agents, or people going to Valdivia, which is your Morrissey hearing, in and out. For those of you that don't know, I'm not going to explain everything to you. I've been locked up. And that's just how it is. These Woods, brother, were smart, brother. They somehow got at their people and gave them some type of something to pop their doors. Now, what you would do back in them days, and it's happened several times, I've noticed, or I've seen it, people would stuff their door, so when the placa closed their door, it didn't necessarily lock. It was like a piece of something that they made. They made like a hard plastic piece that actually went in that door so it wouldn't click. The placa would think it was closed because it was stuck, but it wasn't. Oh, no, it was not, right? Let me tell you what the Woods did to us, brother. If you go to H-Wing, if it's still there, if they haven't torn it down yet, my DNA is all over that place, brother. You know what I mean? These white boys, the tier tenders, they told me to go stand in the back. They were bringing us out, right? When they brought me and the homeboy out, we were in handcuffs. Okay, they put handcuffs on us. Norteños never got it good. It's like, here, slap these cuffs on one time for your mind. They always had to do something because we were the majority group, so they expected us. And one thing about the Norteños, we were always looking to make a move. Our next move was our best move. We're always looking to handle business. That's facts. Always. Anything. If I see the soap sandwich, let me get a bite. Put it back real quick. We were always up to no good, right? Man, these white guys ran and started walking. I could see them walking. I remember as the cuffs them out, I can't snitch. I can say they're getting too close. Hey, hell. Oh, I can't guard. I couldn't do that. I just had to take it, and I seen it coming. 4 doors just flew open. Boom. Down. This white boy picked me up. Get him, brother. Sauce. Caved my whole head into the concrete. Sangre everywhere. They busted my whole stuff. The homeboy, they were bumping, see through the homeboy, they were on him. I got scraped on my back. I had like all these big scrapes, like big old thick scrapes. Looked like someone just, you know what I mean, trying to grate my cheese. I remember it happened fast, but it hurt fast too. Wasn't one of those things like your adrenaline is pumping, you don't feel it till later. And I felt every bit of that, every piece of that. They grated my cheese and then, like I said, no, brother, right? They were on me. I heard a whole bunch of brothers and a whole bunch of, that's attaboy Wood. That's mess with us, Norteños, and I was all kinds of busters and all kinds of other things. But at the same time, it's part of the game. they got us. You know, they caught us slipping. The lockdown continued. We end up getting up out of there. I remember getting out of prison, getting a violation and going back, and we were still on lockdowns with the same woods. We ended up eventually did come off. There was no runbacks because we got our runbacks in other prisons. It was just kind of like, hey, that's part of the game, man. You got caught slipping this time. They got you. They were a little bit smarter than you. They played chess when you played checkers, and that was it. Didn't happen much. Usually we had the upper hand there, being our you know, basically our backyard, but the woods, you know, they function. So anyways, with that being said, gente, you know, people wanted to hear my stories about the woods, bro. Hey, we follow the yellow brick road. We follow the yellow brick road. Well, there it was. They followed the yellow brick road to my head and cracked it all over the yellow brick road. And that's just what I do. Do I hold grudges? No, I respect them. I respect them because they were a worthy adversary. They were a worthy warrior. Those vatos were Vikings. That's it. That was Thor and the Iron Man. They just picked me up. Get him, Mr. Stark, and just dropped me. And that's what it was. With that being said, I hope that you move with a purpose. I hope you enjoyed this story because it's all facts and it really happens. Anyone that's been to Tracy, they know what it is. And you know, straight up, I'm going to continue to do what I does. Because at the same time, I hope you go out there and get it for your familia because ain't no one else going to do it for you. Because your boss is a wood. He's like, hey, brother, did you hear that story by Gunner Spade? He gave us our props. He gave us our props. It's real talk. If you like this, hit that like and subscribe with a thumbs up. If not, thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the ground. I'm going to continue to strive and struggle for what I honestly and truly believe in, and that's bringing everybody together. I tell these stories not to glorify prison, but to tell you that truths really happen. Facts do remain, and respect is number one, and it's given. Why, thank you, brother. That's mighty white of you. I love your life. The gun. Bang, bang.